Hey there, gang. So today we are going to be taking our learning about photosynthesis and now applying it to what we call the chloroplast. That's what our whole lesson is going to be on today. All right. So just for a quick review, as far as what we've learned this week, you guys should now know this is probably the most important molecule you've learned so far in this class, and it's called ATP, right? Where the T stands for tri, which equals 3. And we say it equals 3 because we have 1, 2, 3 phosphate groups. And we know that's in the phosphate groups that we store energy. It's not here in the base where no energy is stored. Okay, so the more phosphate groups we have, the more energy that's stored, and the more energy that we can release later. Whereas this base never changes. It's like the trunk of a tree that holds these phosphate branches over here. Another important term that we use is autotrophs. And autotrophs means, in one of many ways, it can mean plants. More often than not, that's what it means. Plants, trees, grasses, anything that gets its energy from the sun. And the big idea here is that autotrophs are able to produce their own food, but once again, they need sunlight in order to do so. So if we have a plant in darkness, if you have a tree in darkness, it's not going to be able to grow or survive because it doesn't have any energy to do so. It's not able to eat anything else except that sunlight. Something else that we learned is just how absorption and reflection work in general, and the color that we consider an object to be. If I say a tennis ball is yellow, for example, this is the light that's reflected. It's that yellow light from a tennis ball that is reflected. Now, all the other colors that are in the visible light spectrum, red, orange, green, blue, indigo, and violet, because I don't see these colors from that tennis ball, we see that these colors are absorbed. They're not reflected into my eye, they're kept within that object. And remember, the more colors an object absorbs means the warmer it gets. And because black absorbs the entire color spectrum and doesn't reflect any, that's why black is the warmest in sunlight. Another thing that you guys learned yesterday was that most autotrophs have a pigment that we call chlorophyll. And it's this chlorophyll pigment that our lecture is really going to be focusing on today. And it's chlorophyll that gives plants its green color. Why chlorophyll is so important is because it's able to capture energy from sunlight, and it can transform this energy that absorbs into ATP and food. So we're going to be now moving on into this structure that we call the chloroplast. And the chloroplast is really important. It's a type of organelle that we see in all plant cells. And what's special about an organelle, if you guys recall this from our cell unit, is it's basically a cellular machine. And what I mean by this is that an organelle has one task that it performs, and that's what it does within the cell, just like a machine does, okay? So the task that a chloroplast has is it's inside of a chloroplast that a plant produces their own food. And this is because it's inside this chloroplast there's the necessary chemicals and there's the necessary machinery for ATP and sugar production to occur. And this is the general pathway that it follows, is that, again, a plant absorbs sunlight into its chlorophyll. It's able to turn this sunlight into energy, and then it can turn this energy into food. And in the case of the plant, the food that it uses and makes is sugar. Sunlight, energy, sugar. We have sunlight, we capture it, we turn it into ATP, and then that ATP can make sugar for us. And so what we're looking at down here is I just want you to understand exactly where chloroplasts are in a plant. Okay, and the first step is if we have a leaf right here, a wonderful leaf. It's inside this leaf, right, inside this little section of the leaf, we have a plant cell. And if you notice, inside this plant cell, we have these little green ovals. And what these green ovals are, if we zoom in on it, these green ovals represent a chloroplast. And if you notice, it's chloroplasts that are green, okay? So one more time, I really want to hammer this point home. Chloroplasts are a type of organelle that are in all plant cells, and that an organelle is a cellular machine. If I say it twice, that means it's really important, guys. So all they, I'm going to put chloroplasts just so we are very clear on what we're talking about. Chloroplasts are actually made up of these little flattened sacs that we call thylakoids. They're these little flattened green sacs called thylakoids. And if you look on the left, that's exactly what we have, okay? So if you look at these individual discs, one disc is a thylakoid, okay? Now, if we have these thylakoids stacked up, we call this a granum. So a granum is simply a stack of thylakoids. Now, you're probably asking yourself at this moment, why am I learning about something called a thylakoid? Well, it's because it's inside thylakoids that the reactions of photosynthesis actually occur. And it's because it's inside the thylakoid that the chlorophyll is contained. Alrighty? And it's this chlorophyll that gives plant cells their green color. And it's inside these thylakoids that we actually capture the light energy. So, one more time, if you look, one individual sac is a thylakoid, a whole stack, that's a granum. A whole stack is a granum, one individual sac is a thylakoid. Now, I know this is probably a lot coming at you, and so what I want to do is just kind of explain a little better exactly how this goes. And so, what it is actually is that you have a thylakoid, a stack of thylakoid make up a granum, granum make up chloroplasts, and chloroplasts make up plant cells. A stack of thylakoids make a granum, granum make chloroplasts, chloroplasts make up plant cells. A stack of thylakoids make a granum, granum make up chloroplasts, and chloroplasts make up a plant cell. A stack of thylakoids make a granum, granum make up chloroplasts, and chloroplasts make up a plant cell. Okay? So as we go this way, we're getting larger. Okay? The thylakoid is the smallest unit. The plant cell here is the biggest unit. And remember, a plant cell is going to make up a plant. All right? So I hope this is super clear. It's a really small topic in this unit. But please, please, please be sure to fill out this vocab that we have here. And once you've done that, you can move on to the partner work. If you have any questions, please be sure to raise your hand. And otherwise, I hope you guys really enjoy this.